Welcome to the show, everybody. As Bitcoiners, we all know the importance of self-custody. And while once again, traditional investors are learning it the hard way, BlackRock is currently blocking over $600 million in withdrawals from its corporate lending fund. And they're not the only private equity fund facing a run right now. At the same time, new data shows Americans are rating their 401ks at a rate higher than any point in recorded history. The big question in my head, and I'm sure some of yours, is can the system absorb it? On top of all of this, a major subprime lender just cratered nearly 60% overnight in a move that looks reminiscent of '08. And the whole crew is here to talk about this and plenty more. Drop a like on the video, strap in. I'm Ben with the BTC Sessions, and this is Bitcast. The issue is not red or blue. The issue is between the state and you.
It can be a little bit of a warning sign.
It gives you a tool to empower.
That sounds like a utopia, my friend.
It is. It's exactly a utopia.
With Bitcoin, no one can take it from you.
All right, everybody. We're going to get rolling here. Welcoming to the stage, of course, Nathan, Walker, Joey, and Brandon. And gentlemen, good to see you all. Let's take a quick peek at some of the things I mentioned off the top of the show here, and then we can dive into thoughts. So right here, we've got, BlackRock won't let billionaires cash out of its $26 billion fund. That should worry everyone. Just a little Cliff's Notes.
Oh, no.
Well,
are there only 26 people in the fund? How does that work?
Good question. Good question. A little Cliff's Notes here from Jim Ferguson. It says, first time in history, BlackRock's $26 billion HPS corporate lending fund is facing major withdrawal pressure. Investors requested $1.2 billion in redemptions in a single quarter. It's more than 9% of the fund's total assets, nearly double the threshold that they have set of 5%, where managers can begin restricting withdrawals. So they're only paying out $620 million, limiting the rest. Now, they are not the only fund that is having similar issues right now, although this one not limited. They're called Cliffwater. So they're a $33 billion private credit fund, and their Q1 redemptions have reached 14%. And so who are they? Independent investment firm specializing in alternative assets, including private debt, private equity, and hedge funds. So yeah, again, $49 billion fund. Lots more stuff just kind of swirling, kind of showing current cracks in the system, perhaps. Market Financial Solutions, these guys out of the UK, they're facing an estimated shortfall in excess of 1.3 billion pounds, or around $1.75 billion. The imploded UK mortgage provider lent to connected borrowers and double pledged collateral, creditors said in court filings. On top of that, I mentioned off the top of the show, Americans are pulling a shitload of money out of their 401ks right now. This was from Vanguard and this is as of last year. So who knows what we're at right now, but last year, 6% of Vanguard's clients took a hardship withdrawal, which allows them to access funds in a tax advantage retirement account, such as their 401ks. That's up from 4.8% in 2024. And so in doing this, when they're pulling out of their retirement accounts, they're taking a 10% withdrawal penalty on top of paying any of the gains if they do it before they're 59 and a half. So yeah, pretty wild on that. And just one little cherry on top I wanted to throw in here before we start chatting. U.S. Treasury just completed buybacks of $14.7 billion worth of debt, the largest Treasury buyback in history. So I'm going to cap it there. I'm going to toss it down the line here. I don't know who wants to take a chomp at this. Let's maybe start with like the BlackRock and the other private equity funds seeing the polls and limiting withdrawals. What do you guys think? Who wants to dive in?
I'll take it. I'll take it,
Joey.
Yeah, listen, this is a fun one because we're seeing a lot of. Let's level set here a little bit. The guys who are saying that there are cracks in the system, where do they say the cracks are? They say it's in private. Okay, fine. This is true for sure. But the question is, are those cracks going to be contained? I don't know. You mentioned the go easy thing. Maybe we should start there. Do you know what go easy?
Well, we haven't even teed that one up yet, but
we should add it to this list. Okay. Go easy is a Canadian. You teed up, and I'll tell you why I think this whole thing is funny and maybe a little bit overblown.
Okay. So go easy. I mentioned off the top of the show that there's a subprime lender. So this is a subprime lender in Canada specifically. Their shares dropped by 60% after it withdrew guidance and suspended their dividends. So what actually happened here is effectively they said they expect to take $178 million loss, just like loans that they gave out, and they don't expect them to be paid back. And on top of that, 55 million worth of interest and fees that they would have gone from that. So that's just out the window. Now, again, numbers are in the millions, so it's not in an insane amount. They are the largest subprime lender in Canada, though. So
of course, the numbers are only in the millions. It's Canada. You know what I mean? I was gonna say, let's talk about a real country.
Not a lot for you, maybe, but I'd be very happy with that.
Do you know what those guys?
We're talking about like a massive fund. Like this, you guys are so cute up there.
Listen, like we were saying before the show, their book is like $5.5 billion. Okay, so that 300 million is not that much. But do you know what they're saying? They're saying that this is contained in something called LendCare, which is like a third-party merchant, basically BNPL, buy now, pay later, that they bought years ago. Do you know all this money that they're missing is basically in auto loans, Sea-Doos, and other like just ATVs and shit like that, like stuff that people are driving around way overspending, like keeping up with the Joneses type buys that Canadians who are poorer than Alabamians, okay, cannot afford to purchase and cannot afford to own. And this is what you're going to get. You're going to see more and more of this stuff. The real risk is sure in private, sure in some of the subprime markets. But the biggest risk for Canadians and for Canada's economy is that we've been trying to make it seem like we're on par with the US for too long when we are not. And the average Canadian has to stop looking at what they see on TV and saying to themselves, I can do this too. It is just not the case anymore.
Joey, not even just that. It's also like looking back at a generation past, right? We're declining in our quality of life. We're declining in our wealth, right? We can't even keep up with like the relative perspective that our parents had before us. So not only are we falling behind our American brothers, to my right here on screen, as well as we're falling behind just the previous generation.
That is true.
Poorer.
That is true. And I'll give you a good stat when we're talking about the 401k drawdowns. By the way, if you take out your RRSP here in Canada, that 10% looks like a kiss on the lips from a supermodel compared to the kick in the pants you're going to get from your government if you try and withdraw from your RRSP. Go look at the penalties you pay if you take it for anything, including, by the way, medical care, which is part of this stress that you could be under to take out of your 401k. 6% of Americans drew on their 401k in 2025. That's a record. At the same time, a record 665,000 401k millionaires. That's what a K-shaped economy looks like. So when you're talking about guys who are super rich or just, very well off, I guess, in this case, and people who can't afford to get medical care and have to draw on their retirement, this is what leads to riots. Okay. The guys, when there's homeless encampments next to where you park your Beamer, that's what leads to riots. And this is the stuff that a lot of people talk about, but can't quantify. This is an easy one to look at and say, we got a problem here. What's the fix? We know what they think it'll be. We got to either print to make sure everyone feels rich, or we got to drag everybody down. The Americans like to print to make everyone feel rich. In Canada, we drag everybody down to make everyone at least, commiserate together. And neither really works. And so if you don't own assets, Bitcoin, I think for us is the big one, you're gonna be left behind. No matter where you park your money here, you're gonna be paying the price somewhere, whether it's when you need it because you get sick or some other reason. Heaven forbid it's for a Sea-Doo. You got to just start thinking about other assets. And I think it's got to be BTC, man.
You guys would print if you could. It's just that nobody wants your.
We can't do it. I know we can't do it.
Give me a break. We decide not to.
Walker, do you know how much of our government debt the Bank of Canada bought between 20 and 22? I think it's either between 20 and 22 or 20 and 23. It's 95 or 96%. Basically all of it. Nobody bought our debt, and we couldn't even convince our bank to buy all of it. We had to find buyers for 4 or 5%. It's nuts, man. This place is like a total gong show. We should do an episode on the decline of Canada at some point, but we need more than an hour to get it done.
That's a docu-series.
Yeah.
Good to go, guys. Carney's going to China.
Our newest partner.
Even G, like this.
She moves in mysterious ways, right? That's what there we go.
Okay, Walker, give me your take on all this private credit crap going on here, as well. Joey had to say about, Americans drawing down the 401ks, the K-shaped economy, and also just side note, how do I get into the upper part of the K? Because that would be helpful.
It would be helpful. So here's what I'd like to say first. It's a question, actually. Who names these firms? Why does every all these firms? Why do they all sound like hipster farm to table restaurants like BlackRock and Foot and Mouth and like that's like a disease for kids. Like different things. You get my point here. Why do all of these firms? Did they just use like a random name generator? And
my favorite part about Market Financial Solutions is that the acronym is MFs. Those MFs. So yeah.
Even like the private military contract, like Blackwater, like stuff like that. Like, all in the same jar, like fishing for like little pieces. What are we gonna name it? This is wild.
It's like, let's make it nondescript enough so that when we're trying to just like take over the world, it doesn't sound that bad.
What shell company was that, guys?
Blackwater, just like deep, murky Blackwater into whose depths you shall never come up from. But no, okay. In all seriousness here, why do they name them like hipster restaurants? But secondly, how long before these, there are so many very wealthy people in the world. There are way more very poor people in the world, right? But we're talking about these billionaires who are investing, all 26 of them, in this $26 billion fund. Whatever, obviously it's more than 26. They're not investing a whole billion in each. My point being, how long before they realize that their money is not theirs? I mean, presumably a lot of them do, right? Presumably a lot of them understand that what they are holding, I guess it's paying them, okay, fine. But when push comes to shove, it's like you get cut off. It's not yours. How long before more of them realize, maybe I want to hold something that, yes, over the past 18 months has performed worse than the S&P 500, like Bitcoin. But how long before they realize, you know what? Actually, it's not just the number go up properties of this that are valuable. It's actually all these other properties that make the number go up, right? And I think people sometimes put I don't know if cart before the horse is the right expression here, but people have this idea that it's like, Bitcoin's NGU is what makes it attractive. But I think Gladstein said, you come for the NGU, you stay for the FGU. The NGU is a Trojan horse for the freedom go up, right? Number goes up, people come in, they then realize, oh shit, wait, there's so much more to this. This is something that people can't take from me. This is something people can't freeze because they've had too many redemptions on their fund. This is something that people can't, talking about the 401ks and all these hardship redemptions. This is something that, by the way, if you have a lot of money in a 401k, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you what to do with your money, but you might want to be careful because that is the biggest fucking just big old honeypot sitting right there for any government to want to tap into for unrealized capital gains. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do. It's not your money. It's an IOU for your money. And the IOU for your money is even like the actual thing that you would get in return, the US dollars. Those are an IOU too, to the fucking Federal Reserve. None of it's real. None of it's real at all. And I wonder how long it takes. And this is actually, I'll tell you why this is a good thing. It's a good thing that more people haven't woken up to all this. It's a good thing that more people aren't asking the question, well, wait a minute. I just own vapor, right? I own nothing. I have no actual claim to anything. If it can be frozen, if it can be stopped, if it can be stalled, if it can be paused, whatever you want to take it, whatever you want to say it, if that can happen, you don't own it. Bitcoin is actual private property. It's a thing that you can actually own. And 99.9% of the world has no fucking clue. That, gentleman, is bullish. I know this isn't why are we bullish anymore, but why am I bullish? Because 99.9% of the world still doesn't understand that there's this magic internet money out there that can't be debased, can't be confiscated, can't be censored. You can send it to anyone in the world at any time. If you take certain measures, very easy ones, you can obfuscate source of funds and person receiving can do the same. Boy, it's bullish because the vast majority of the world, if you're watching this right now, you are in the tiny minority. And that is you are part of that alpha, right? So take advantage of it. Bitcoin's pumping all the way to 70,625 infinitely printable Federal Reserve notes per coin right now. That's still a bargain. That's a bargain for something nobody can take from you, nobody can debase, and nobody can stop you from using.
100% Walker. Joey?
I just want to add one thing on the private side. So we talked a bit about private credit on the other, I shouldn't say the other, but another place in that that capital stack, we have private equity. And for a long time, there's been, rules and regs around who can invest in PE, mostly because it takes a little more understanding. And, even if you're accredited, you should still have some know-how or inside info or connections to the company in which you're investing, whether it's PE, buying equity in the company, or PC, lending to that same company with the expectation of a return. Do you want to know how you know that private is experiencing problems and needs exit liquidity? Because Wealthsimple in Canada will let you buy private equity now, as long as you have 10,000. Yeah. So if you got 10,000 shekels, which is like $8 or $9 US, you can buy private equity after you talk to Wealthsimple. So you set up a call or something, and there you go. So if you wanted to know whether or not you were going to be the exit liquidity, it's difficult a lot of times to know. Not that difficult in this case to know whether you're going to be the exit liquidity. You will be, listener, viewer. The exit.
I wonder if they'll go ahead and turn off that sell button there at some point in time on the private equity as well, too. Who knows? Some crazy shenanigans going out there. Brandon, I'm curious to get your thoughts on this, man.
Yeah, and just piggybacking off what you guys are saying and what Walker was just saying, it's like, when do people wake up to the fact that you don't own any of these things? Like it's not yours. Like you go to the bank to take out your money and they ask you, hey, what are you doing it for, et cetera, et cetera. And it just touching the stove has to happen over and over again for people. I don't know why that is. That will always blow my mind. But it's ephemeral, like it's a mindset at the end of the day. This is all ephemeral. The dollars, the Canadian dollar, the US dollar, peso, yen, lira, you go down the list, right? They're all backed by nothing. It's all a con game. It's all is as long as someone wakes up tomorrow and thinks that it has value, and then the person that accepting the trade of goods or services accepts it, then it's okay. You could use whatever. And that's this weird game that's going on right now, but it's coming to an end. It's just slower than we like it. I mean, Jeff Booth talks about this all the time, right? It's these systems are here. You guys just mentioned it. If you want privacy, if you want all these things, if you want to operate just in a Bitcoin world, it is there. It's what you guys teach all the time at BTC Mentor. Like, this is all the time. You can do this all day long. It's just the education is not evenly distributed. And it goes back to, Bitcoiners are toxic because we've seen the light. And we've gone through this fatal funnel. Like so when you're in close quarters combat, like in the military, and you're going to in a kill house, and you're practicing, you're sweeping rooms and whatever, you have to go through the fatal funnel, which is the door. It's the choke point. Like, you have to go through the door, and everyone's barrel is basically aimed at the door. And so that's what Bitcoiners have gone through at the end of the day. You've gone through this gauntlet in terms of you got burned somewhere else, your education, all these things, your experience in life has all got you to this point where you have to go to that fatal funnel, this gauntlet, in order to get to the other side, to be able to clear the room and make sure, hey, things are okay. But most society hasn't gone through that exercise yet. They haven't gone to the kill house. They haven't done it. So none of it makes sense. They don't know what we're talking about until you touch the stove, until your stuff gets frozen, until you see these articles. This is why it seems redundant at times to some people, right? It seems redundant to us at times because we're for years constantly talking about the same thing. I remember doing these BlackRock, Blackstone videos, gating funds 5 years ago on YouTube. But every day, another person wakes up, and that, on this stream, I'm sure one person will wake up, and that's the goal every single time we come out to do something like this, because there is an answer to all the madness and all the ridiculousness. And it's Neil Flesher wrote the book Modern Change recently, is a former Apache pilot, and it's ethics over economics. So much of the macro literally doesn't matter if you put ethics before economics, and that's what Bitcoin does. It puts the consumers and producers on the same side of the table, and it's a positive sum game instead of a zero sum game like fiat. So these things are rendered moot over time as people come to the Bitcoin network, but it takes a lot longer than we think it's going to.
100%. Ben?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the lesson that we talked about at the beginning of the show. What can you truly self-custody? What is truly yours? And what is a promise on a piece of paper or on a digital, the spreadsheet that somebody else controls entirely? And yeah, I mean, this is what Bitcoiners get. It's what traditional finance doesn't know can exist yet. Like, they don't, I just think a lot of people don't even really understand the concept, or they're dismissive. People have a short memory, right? Like, people now in the prime of their careers, right now, they probably weren't really all that cognizant of what was going on in 2008, right? Maybe they were in high school or college, but they weren't really paying attention. They didn't have disposable income. They weren't really like in the actual job market. So I think it's very easy for this stuff to just cycle over and over again. That said, the people that are around some are starting to understand. And just anecdotally, the other day, I was meeting with an accountant so that I can figure out how much the Canadian government is going to siphon from me this year. But
probably a lot. Probably a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're going through everything. But the guy's like, okay, so like, do you have traditional investments? Do you like, you sit in Bitcoin? Like, are you all Bitcoin? And I was like, yeah, I'm absolutely all. Like, I've got my home, but it's like I'm not sitting in anything else. Like I'm either gonna turn out. It's going to turn out amazing for me, or I'm going down with the fucking ship. But that's what I'm doing, boys. Like that's
ride or died, ride or die.
And so he's talking about. He's talking about different situations where like people get caught up in things, and then they get everything garnished, and then I just made a passive like can't fucking garnish a Bitcoin wallet, and he's like, actually, you know what, sitting back kind of thinking. Anyways, yeah, so like, I mean, it's all just a lesson in like, at the end of the day, who holds the keys, if the keys exist. And yeah, I mean, it seems like there's a lot of stuff that's going sideways right now. Maybe it's just me. It doesn't seem like it's just me though. It seems like there's a lot of stuff that every other day it seems that shit's broken. And on both sides, we're seeing things like, things have never been better. The stock market's all-time high, like all this kind of stuff. And then the reality lived by people. And it's very blatant now. And now it's starting to not just affect the lower middle class. It's starting to be like billionaires saying, I can't get my money out. So yeah, I think
even on that Sessions, like talking about the reality of it too, because the thing with the private credit that's been stuck in my mind, and I don't have an answer, but I keep wondering if there's going to be like some other contagion event, like there's going to be some moment that breaks. And for the longest time, I would have held that belief in the sense that even from COVID, I never think we paid the price for all the bullshit that happened during that time. I still think there is basically, malinvestment and leftover chaos from there to come. But I wonder if they're maybe successfully going to keep kicking the can down the road by just putting the debt on the people and then throwing the assets towards the companies and the shareholders of banks. Like it's just going to have this K-shaped recovery into perpetuity. And so looking at the private credit, we have the private credit. So you have BlackRock with the two funds, and they're having issues with withdrawals. We're seeing it in the UK case, so it's elsewhere in the world. I'm wondering if this is going to it's not a crisis at this point in time, but it's like the temperature's starting to get turned up. Everyone's paying attention to it. And then you look at the 401 case, and then you look, I think it was, US February payroll lost 92K. And I think the expectation was like plus 55.
They do that all the time, right? Like the Department of Downward Revisions every month goes back, 18 reports and revises those numbers down. What's really interesting about that is if you are a Mike Green disciple and you believe that the stock market truly is being held up by passive flows, if you start losing 500,000 jobs, over 18 months, that's a lot of money not going into the S&P automatically every paycheck, right? And that causes a problem, because once you start seeing those inflows slow, redemptions and sales will start in earnest, because it'll trigger algorithmic selling at some point. And also funds will start to have to defend, the rationale behind holding through 10, 15, 20% downturns, especially when metals are up, other commodities are up, real estate is up, there's other places to park money, especially for the high net worth individual. So it's the jobs thing is big for a number of reasons. I secretly think as well that there's at least some possibility that the government starts to take stock in more companies somehow. I don't know how they would do that. But
going and buying in, was it Intel?
Yeah. Like I think they will start defending some of their bigger companies, because at this point, like the stock market is not only a sort of societal cohesion issue because
nobody
of
wants treasuries, they're buying equities, even foreign investors.
It's a national security issue. Yeah, they need those companies to stay afloat, and so it's not going to be the White House taking stock in Intel anymore. It's going to be Nvidia, Facebook. You're going to see this more and more, because you just can't let these things fall. And this is end of empire type stuff, man. This is how the end looks. It feels good because your prices or I should say your sort of denominator, it feels like everything's going up, but your denominator is being destroyed in a lot of ways. And people
I
don't know
completely
that.
agree, Joey. And Brandon, sorry, quickly before you get into it too, but you're right. If we have an increase in unemployment, if you have basically the plebs don't have money that's just funneling and trying to protect themselves from inflation and forced into these index funds, that's going to hurt a lot of passive flows going in there. But also combined, but think about the ongoing chaos that we have even in Iran. And I was thinking about today that like we have the Strait of Hormuz, which I think is still closed. I can't get a clear read on this thing. They're trying to drop mines there and things as well. But there's the other downstream effect. So not only do you not have the oil currently moving through, but you're going to see people from the production side start to taper it down because they can't get it past, right? So you're going to create this slug in the line. And how much of that, like the Gulf country foreign funds were also flowing into prop up the US equity stuff as well too. So I'm not saying something's coming immediately, but I keep seeing these cracks kind of everywhere. And I keep waiting for the shoe to drop. And I guess it's like the longer it goes on, the more likely it eventually will happen. That, or they're just going to do a fucking bail-in or something at some point. Brandon, your thoughts?
Yeah, 100%. And the other part of it too is like all the required minimum distributions, like the boomers. I mean, I think in 2016 or 17, like the first boomers turned 70, like they or 70 and a half or whatever it was, and they started having to take. I mean, at some point that runs out. The younger generation doesn't have many assets. So where are we getting, with the passive inflows? And then you have AI taking jobs. Where is this getting backfilled from? Like that's the math that like everyone's trying to like math these things out in the macro world, and it's like. The math isn't there at all. Did
you see the AI taking trading jobs as well too? Someone was running
the AI going to have your job and it's going to all of a sudden have its own 401k? Of course not, right? Like, what are we doing here?
Isn't the tinfoil hat take too that the AI is actually not taking jobs and the economy is just shit and these companies are laying people off because they're not getting the you know what I mean?
It's a wonderful excuse. Sure. Sorry, Brandon, I interrupted you.
No, it's good. I mean, it's fascinating going back to like even like what we were talking about earlier. Like these two worlds can't coexist. This deflationary world where it's technology and just progress of human life and a neutral money, a voluntary open source code just sitting over here that people are adopting every day versus this inflationary system that has to literally eat itself and collapse in on itself. Like those two worlds can't exist. It's literally impossible. And we're sitting here just early and being like, this is so annoying. And we all get annoyed. And the average person over here is just completely lost and they're hurting, civil unrest. We were joking offline beforehand, right? The guy's protesting in front of the New York City mayor's house and his bombs coming over his head. And it's like, the average guy doesn't know what's going on. Like he's just completely lost and he just blames his neighbor. He's like, well, it's that guy's fault. And it's the monetary system is just completely crumbling. And so one has to eat the other. It's either this deflationary system with neutral money or it's this inflationary debt-based system has to try to print over it. And as one of my favorite interviews in the last year or two was Max Kaiser on Nico Jilt's podcast. And he's like, yeah, this Pakistan-Indian war thing. Like, I mean, I don't really want you guys to blow yourselves up, but like I make a lot of money because you guys have to like print a lot. So like I just win because I'm in Bitcoin. And so it's like I can tell you, what to do. It's like that's where we're going. Period. End of story.
Ben?
Yeah, I mean, where do I go next with that?
Well, don't reveal the jokes we say off stream. Those are not allowed on YouTube.
Yeah, I think we'd be deplatformed almost immediately. Either way, we are going to talk about some more of this after the break here, but just to kind of tee up where we're headed with this. Canada, I think we should use as a case study so the rest of the world can see what they're doing and about to do to us, and kind of give the red flags of like, hey, this happened, then this happened. This is what's going to be the consequence, because we're on the cusp of having Mark Carney having a majority of government, being able to do whatever the hell he wants. And I mean, as if they already don't absolutely pillage everything from us. There's rumors swirling around at just the most insane tax that Joey, I saw you tweeting about it earlier, but we're going to cover that. And then the question is, what the hell do you do? How do you actually handle something like this and insulate yourself from it? So on the other side of the break, we will take a look at that. And if you're not in Canada, just use this as a bit of a warning and instructive for what could be coming next, depending on where you are. Anyways, we'll be back after the jump. See you guys in a sec. Drop a like in the video. Bitcoin Well is the best place to be buying and selling Bitcoin in Canada and the US. And now with Bitcoin Well Infinite, it's also the best place to be making large buys at their OTC desk of over $50,000. Their white glove service gives you fast transactions, no slippage, and the lowest fees. You can scan the QR code on the screen or simply head to bitcoinwell.com/BTC Sessions to sign up today. And you can share your own personalized referral link to earn commissions. CoinKite has been in the game for years, creating hands down the best and most secure hardware when it comes to securing your Bitcoin. The Cold Card Q is an absolute powerhouse and my daily driver, and it's ideal for newcomers and advanced users alike. The Tap Signer gives you a low-cost, user-friendly option for those just getting started or for convenience when traveling. You can head to coinkite.com and use code BTC Sessions for discounts, or simply scan the QR code on the screen to get started right away. One company I like pointing people to when they ask about Bitcoin mining is Abundant Mines. They were founded by Bo and Christine Turner after losing over $500,000 to broken promises in the mining industry. And they built their hosting model to remove the usual headaches. With Abundant Mines, you own your machines and keep 100% of the Bitcoin you mine. There's no revenue share, no hidden skims. Pricing is simple. One flat monthly fee covers power, parts, labor, and repairs. They also guarantee uptime. If a machine goes down, their hash rate redirect system routes hash power from their fleet, so earnings don't just stop, and every machine is insured at full replacement value. Everything is hosted in the US, powered by Hydro, and mining equipment may qualify for 100% year one bonus depreciation. Learn more at abundantmines.com/sessions. All right, back in, and let's chat a little bit about what the hell is going on here north of the ice wall. And I'd love this to kind of be instructive in nature as well. First of all, okay, there is something going on here, and Joey, Nathan, I need to get your take on this. What kind of money is being divvied up to get all these assholes to jump from one party to the next to give Mark Carney okay, so those
money and blackmail, and blackmail, baby.
Basically, Mark Carney won and is currently prime minister. He's very close to a majority government without having another national election. And this has come to fruition through people crossing the aisle, leaving their other parties and joining the Liberal Party, including some conservatives. So like polar opposite, you would think, of the Liberal Party, and another one just the other day. So he's like 2 seats short of having full control. So first off, Joey, like, what do you think? Like, how is this happening? Because this seems shady as hell to me.
Just get your thoughts out now, Ben, because come Friday, it'll be illegal to talk about this in Canada. So don't save anything here. Don't hold any bullets in. Couple things I want to note. You're asked about the cost for something like this. What does it cost to get someone to flip to cross the aisle? In the case of this woman from Nunavut, it costs about $50 million for an Inuit or native somehow led university in her, I don't even think her riding, probably her region or whatever. I can't imagine they just plop it down anywhere in Nunavut. There's only so many places you can put a post-secondary institution. So they cost $50 million in that case. When it comes to Sean Fraser, who is the minister of, he's like the equivalent of the attorney general in the States. Not a lawyer, I don't believe. Just quick FYI there. For him, he was planning on retiring and spending time with his family when it looked like Trudeau and every single cabinet minister he had was going to get nuked from orbit in the next election. As soon as Carney took over, he said, fuck my family. I'm coming back. Still doesn't have a suit that fits properly, which is endlessly frustrating to me. It's crazy that these guys are making so much money and can't get a fucking tailor. So he's back. It cost, in that case, I think, a ministerial appointment, and cost him time with his wife and kids out east. In the case of this fella from the conservative side, Generu, it cost a trip to India, China, and Australia, I believe. He took this guy along with him for those three trade trips. I don't know what that's worth. If you look back at some of the Trudeau spending, some of those trips are upwards of $50,000 per flight between staff, food, booze, and I don't know. Yeah,
is Trudeau the one that Fidel Castro's son? Is that the one we're talking about?
That is correct.
That's the allegation.
Okay,
just for the CSIS agent assigned to my online content, that was the American who said that, not me.
This is what I've heard.
That's what I've
heard. The stories about his wife.
It's floating out there. It's interesting. I see Paulie in the chat here from the CBP chat. Good to see you, number one, Paulie. But he's pointing out something interesting that came to my attention today as well. This woman from Nunavut, her son is a convicted pedophile.
Fuck, you're kidding me.
No, so like, you know, you almost can't make it up, right? It's just over and over again. You could pick anybody to cross the floor. You could pick anybody to bring into your party. And typically what you would see in a true democratic society, you would try and find people with virtue and, you know, testicular fortitude. And instead we get people who pretend to quit because they don't want to lose, people who are raising pedophiles, people who are, it really is a sad state of affairs in this country. And I bring up Friday because in Canada here, Bill C9 is going to pass into its next phase of our legislative process, the Senate. Bill C9 is basically going to prevent anyone from expressing, you know, there's a lot of talk in that bill about speech and online and offline commentary and opinions that are, you know, countervailing to the public good. You know, I don't know what the public good is. I would argue that the public good does not include spending money that we don't have. It does not include burying the youth so that the boomers can, you know, go to Mexico for 3 months a year. It doesn't include all these things, but soon I don't think I'll be able to say that. And I'll just say this and I'll pass to whoever Nathan tells me to pass to in the back room there in the chat. The other thing that I just want to let people know, okay? I've said this a million times over the years. I've said it on this show, my own show. If you think it's somehow going to get better in this country, I got bad news, man. It ain't going to get better. It ain't going to get better. Demographics right now, if you can believe it, if you're a productive person in Canada, are as in your favor. They are as favorable to you as they are going to be for the next 100 years. And so if you think you can stomach stuff, like Ben said, the home equity tax, this is, by the way, different than being taxed on the gains for sale of your primary residence. This is being taxed on a market assessment by the government on the difference in property value year to year and having to pay on that difference whether you sell your property or not.
Yeah.
I think you can stomach all this. You know, you're welcome to stay. And Ben, I'll answer your question and then pass to you, Nate. The reason, you know, when it comes to how much can people stomach and why are they doing this and what is the point? The point is something we've all talked about. People in the chat know this. It's just, you got to boil the frog slowly, you know, and the frog will never leave the pot. And by the time it gets too hot, by the time you're ready to leave Canada, by the time you're ready to cash out some of your RSPs, your TFSA, it's going to be fucking really hard, man. It's going to be really hard. So I want to warn people again, think about moving, think about being agile, put yourself in a position where you don't even have to sell your house before you leave. That is really the ideal thing, because I really do think there's going to be a number of different ways they crack down and start monitoring who is leaving. We had a almost 30,000 net outflow last year of citizens from this country. So people talk about, you know, we're getting more and more foreign workers, more and more this, more and more that. Productive people are leaving, and that trend will continue.
Yeah, I just want to tag in here. So like those wondering how this home equity tax would work. So if you, as you pay down your loan on your home, you will then be paying tax on what so two things can happen. One, you can buy a home and the value goes up because they printed so much fucking money. So they say, wow, you've got equity now. Well, you've still got a house. And so you pay tax on the equity, the nominal dollar value that your house is now worth additional to what you owe on it. Or as you pay down the house, you now have an additional tax to pay because the equity that you put into it yourself is now incurring a tax as well.
Ben, don't forget too, banks oftentimes charge for lump sum payments against your principal. You can only make so many payments against your principal every year because they want to get you with that interest. They truly are taxing you to death.
Your debt is their asset.
Yeah, man.
Right? They have no interest in you paying off your debt.
Yeah. And the worst, and the people that are going to be the most screwed with stuff like this eventually is fixed income. So you have a house. That house has skyrocketed in value only because of the debasement of the currency. And now they're saying like, well, look how much this fucking thing's worth. You owe a whole bunch of tax on that. Walker, you go. You look.
Yeah, just raising my hand for the benefit of the Canadians here.
Jesus, every time, buddy, you're homeschooled.
It's a bit now. It's a bit.
It's a bit now. Can I just confirm? This home equity tax is on top of your property taxes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and by the way, that like some big sort of metropolitan areas here, Walker, got 4 or 5% increases this year in property tax. Where I am in Hamilton and in Toronto and other places around me, next year, allegedly, City Hall and these places is saying that you can expect like a 15-16% hike in some of your taxes. They've been trying to hold it back, I guess, which is next year is going to hurt for a lot of people.
Okay. Oh, okay. So, oh boy. Okay.
Yeah, get ready. Get ready. Let me get you in
a couple of things. One, if you homeschool your kids, you shouldn't have to pay property taxes. At least in America, the majority of your property taxes go to funding the local school district. By the way, literacy rates have never been lower. Everybody's fucking retarded. What the fuck is public school even doing anyway? First point. Shouldn't have to pay fucking property taxes, or the majority of them. Property taxes themselves, not terrible. In absence of all other taxes, in absence of capital gains, in absence of income tax, in absence of sales tax. But the problem is that you're taxed on fucking everything you do all the time. This is the problem. And with regard to property taxes, again, in absence of everything else, all other taxes are gone. I could make an argument for them. The only purpose that the state has is to defend private property. We give them a monopoly on violence. They can organize for the defense of private property so that when Joey, my neighbor, steals my cow, I don't have to string him up from a tree and beat him with a stick until he gives me my cow back. I call the police. They take care of it. They throw him in jail, right? That's why we have, that is like the actual purpose of the state. In theory. In practice, as Bastiat said, like the law perverted. The people who are supposed to protect us from the plunderers have become the plunderers themselves. The state is now the largest plunderer, and they do it lawfully because they have perverted the law itself. Okay, I guess that's point 2. I don't know. I don't even know I'm going with numbers. I'm just going to forget them anyway. Point 69. Point 69. Given that we do have property taxes and we have all these other taxes too, the fact that we have property taxes is genuinely absurd. Again, I clarified that in absence of everything else, property taxes you could justify that reasonably.
I'll get there.
But given that we have all of these other taxes, your property tax isn't just some static amount, as anyone who owns a home knows. Your property tax grows every year. In the US and in Canada, it sounds like in Canada now they're going to put an additional tax on top of that, which is just like mind-numbingly stupid and also kind of evil, and just is going to further disincentivize actual home ownership. But hey, I guess that's not the Canadian dream or the American dream anymore. But the point is here, okay, your assessed value of your home grows every year. Well, why does it grow? I forget who was it that said it. Ben, it might have been you. It grows because of money printing. Your home's not getting more valuable. Your home is a liability, not an asset. Your home is something you dump money into. Your home has become a proxy for saving, because we can't save in the money itself, because the money itself is broken. Because of that, real estate has gotten bid up way more than it should. Homes should be priced based on their utility value. They should not just be constantly growing in value, even though it's literally the structure is deteriorating.
My house is literally worse. I have 3 kids. My house is literally worse than I bought it.
Every single year, your house is breaking down a little bit, naturally so. Like this is just what happens, right? Unless you pump a bunch of money into it. But then you pump a bunch of money into it, then the value of it goes up even faster, right? And you better get your permit, sonny boy, because heaven forbid you do something to your own house without a permit. We can't be having that now. Okay, never mind. I'm just going to go in a totally different direction that wouldn't have been appropriate right now. I'll save that one for later.
Dale Gribble hour about to start here.
Yeah, okay. I'll sum it up with this. Rant's about to be done in a second. It's just absurd. It's just this slap in the face to ordinary people who are just trying to get by, who are just trying to get through the day, who are just trying to do right by themselves and by their families and by their communities. And when you constantly make it more and more and more expensive and more restrictive to own a home, to have at least, and yes, you don't actually own it, you just rent it from the government because you're just paying property taxes on it anyway. But okay, at least you have a piece of land that you can kind of call yours plus the government's, okay, at least you've got that. That's something. There's a innate desire in all of us to improve what we own. That's why communism doesn't work. That's why socialism doesn't work. It's why none of these things work, because then when property is collective, there's no incentive to improve the property. This is why communist societies deteriorate into shitholes, and then they overthrow and shoot their dictator in the streets. Speaking here of Romania specifically, because that's what my wife is. And that's what her glorious people, the Romanians, did. They drug that man out on the street on Christmas Day and shot him and his wife in the head. Now,
we're not endorsing violence. Yep, thank you.
Sorry, I'm not endorsing violence. I'm speaking of a historical fact, to clarify. Sorry. Speaking of a historical fact, that is literally what happened with Nicolae Ceausescu. That's his name. There, YouTube. Are you happy? Sorry, guys. I always forget. I would never endorse violence. Violence is bad. You shouldn't use violence. Only the government should use it because we gave them that right. And, if you don't pay your property taxes, what happens? People like to joke, swear last thing, 30 seconds. People like to give Bitcoiners shit because we say things like, this is a monopoly, the government has a monopoly on violence and they will commit this against you, right? But here's the thing. It's like, what happens if you don't pay your property taxes? Well, the government's going to come to your home after sending you many, 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 many letters. They're going to come with armed personnel. At least in the US, the IRS can carry guns. And they're going to come and say, give us what you owe us. And what happens if you don't do that? I know this because I know a person nearby who didn't pay his property taxes for a while. They sent a SWAT team to his house. They sent a SWAT team to his house. He hadn't paid for so long. He'd already dipped town at that point. Like, good for him. Like really stuck it to him. But that's what will happen. And what happens if you resist that SWAT team? I'm not going to say it for the YouTube reasons, but we know what happens if you try and resist that. So you rent your property from the government, but dang, at least just stop taxing people into oblivion. Like, let people try and live. Sorry, rant over now, guys.
Especially in your later years as well, too. Not that we necessarily need to give them anything else, but you think that at the point of retirement, not even work anymore, can we not have a little bit of compassion for it? One, I just want to point out, did Walker just tell us that he's basically in Ruby Ridge? Because that's interesting. Gave away the location there. Two, Walker, you missed one. In Canada, do not forget that you own the house. The government owns the house, and also now the natives own your house too. So we got 3 people leaning on our property, right?
Oh boy.
So
let's go into that one.
Okay, someone see if you can pull it up, or Ben, see if you can find the most latest breaking information on that one, because you don't have any property title whatsoever, it seems, at this point. And then the other thing that I want to point out, the only thing I disagree with you on, I disagree strong, is I think property tax is one of the worst and the most insidious. Every tax is horrible. If I was going to make a case for if we had to have one, which I don't think we should have any, it'd probably go something more on the sales tax inside of it. I think it would be the least impactful.
Agreed on that.
But property tax, this idea of unrealized capital gains, that's what property tax is. And it's just been completely normalized across the board for everyone, completely slipped by the radar. I think it's one of the worst little psyops to get you used to just paying for shit that you haven't sold, that you already own. Not only because not only is it going up because it's been turned into a monetary asset because the money's shit, they're inflating it like crap. It's the largest asset that I'm pretty sure probably for US as well too, for Canada, that people own. So your biggest asset, your biggest savings vehicle, and they've normalized you having to scrape off a chunk every year to fund their fucking socialist goddamn commie schools. It's gone off the charts, but I forget the example that was used, but you would take anything and then pass it to the government. Everyone would just think that if we didn't have the government, if the government was in charge of making shoes, right? Within a generation, people would think it would be impossible to get shoes without the government providing them to us. Every one of these little incremental stents are terrible. And I think that's why we are seeing the idea of unrealized capital gains. And yes, some wealthy will flee. People will avoid it, but the broader population is going, good. Yeah. Tax the wealthy, right? We're hurting over here. They have no fucking clue how bad this shit gets, and they've completely normalized it. I did also just want to quickly point out, and then Brandon, maybe I'll get your thoughts, and Ben, is that one, going back to Nunavut, you know what the population of Nunavut is? They spent $50 million for a university in Nunavut. Big ass piece of land. Total population
15,000.
Pretty good guess. 41,651 residents.
Is that a real place? It's called Nunavut.
They actually they finessed it out of the other 2 territories years ago. Yeah.
So that meant they spent about $1,200 per person to build a university. I'm pretty sure the university campuses usually have more of a population than the entire area. So stupid. And then additionally, I did want to just go for a Ben.
Oh, no. It was totally going to derail it, but I had to tell Walker something after it.
Okay, good. Yes. Hold your thoughts. For Bill C9, I found a little bit of information here. Currently, the law exempts hateful or anti-Semitic, why did that get in there, speech if passed in good faith on interpretation of religious text, but that immunity is set to be removed. Yeah. Right? Oh. So a person shall be convicted for promoting hateful or anti-Semitic speech if it's expressed in good faith based on belief in a religious context. So if you have maybe a religious obligation to abortion or any of the goddamn hedonism coming out of the left these days, or perhaps you don't like, in my case, I don't like the state of Israel. I don't necessarily have problems with people. I hate many states.
Let's go demonetize.
The people of Israel don't like the state of Israel.
The people of Israel, I hear they don't.
Isn't it funny how all the protests against Bibi Netanyahu stopped during that state of emergency?
Weird.
It's funny because I know a lot of people in Israel, and they were in the streets protesting him every day, asking for him to step down, and then that stopped.
We'd actually be better off talking about the government like coming to kill you than talking about how we don't agree with Israel. If we're talking about demonetizing the channel, this is the just note that.
Okay, guys.
Sorry, it is the most.
It was Nathan.
It was me. I'm sorry. I'll leave in a second here. But like the state of things, but I think one of the most heartbreaking things in all of this, and then Ben, tell us something funny. You're going to tell Walker just to bring the mood back up. One of the most heartbreaking things in all of this is just how normalized and accepted it is amongst my peers, amongst the older demographic. If I'm not talking to Bitcoiners, I'm heartbroken. And just, I think these people as a country, as a nation are fucking lost. Ben, say something good and nice.
We love Israel.
I mean, I love that Walker's flabbergasted by the name of none of it. Meanwhile, just north of Calgary, first to the east of Calgary, there is a city called Regina, and to the north of Calgary, there is a town called Balzac. So
nice. We have up in Ontario, we have Balls Falls. That's a real place.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, true. It's true. Look it up.
And in Newfoundland, there's
the village of D's Nuts.
There's literally a village or a town called Dildo.
Jeez Louise, you Canadians.
We ran out of names. I don't know.
Like the mood up here, you know?
What should we call this one? I don't know what you got up your ass right now, Rick.
Okay, Ben, you're taking all this Canadian horse shit, and then Brandon, maybe you as well too. By the way, I want to quickly ask, this is completely unnecessary, and I don't know why, but my brain won't stop let me thinking about it. Walker, does your fridge make those round ice cubes for your drink, or do you have like a little tray for them?
No, I don't have a cool fridge, so I've got a little individual things. That was for my Negroni, which is not a slur, by the way. It's the name of a drink.
Nice.
Grow up, people.
Okay.
It's equal parts dry gin, London dry gin preferably, sweet vermouth, and Campari. Garnish with a twist of orange if you're feeling a little fruity.
I'm going to have to go to Walker's place because I don't know what Campari is.
Yeah,
it's Italian, so it's cool.
I just want Walker to silently whisper in my ear what my drink is all the time.
That can be arranged.
I don't know why I couldn't stop focusing on that. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, Canada's a shit show. Actually, again, me and my wife have had this conversation many times. Like, where is that? If you don't set a threshold, you will be the frog boiling in water. And I already feel like that right now. The problem with, I think part of the problem is by setting a threshold, I know that threshold will come.
Oh yeah, no.
Like that's the thing, but that's also why we need to set one. And so we had that discussion again today. I'm looking up different places saying like, I'm spending the summer in Madeira. I know it's EU, but it's, again, autonomous.
It's an autonomous zone, though.
Yeah, exactly. Autonomous
it's
zone,
incredible.
and it's beautiful, and like there's different kind of like tax incentives and stuff, especially if you've got foreign income and all that kind of stuff. So like, but you'd have to, Jeff. We were talking about this. Jeff Booth was right. Jeff Booth was absolutely right. After Mark Carney got elected, he got the fuck out of Dodge almost immediately. He saw the writing on the wall. I remember seeing him actually he texted me last summer, and he was like, I think we're leaving Canada in like the summer. And then like 2 months later he was gone.
August to September. He decided in August, he was gone in September, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And then I saw him at a Human Rights Foundation event in October. And it was kind of busy, but I went up to him. I'm like, okay, I just have a quick question because we haven't been able to chat, but like, did you see something that scared you enough that you left that quickly? And he's like, the short answer is yes. And Jeff is I consider him
Bitcoin monk.
It's been right, man. Been right.
He knows what's up. And yeah, so he and it's not been cheap for him to do, but he had to effectively sell. He had to cut all ties to Canada as a resident. So he can't own any property here. He can't have like a second home. He can't have any business dealings. He basically nothing that would tie you back to Canada to make the case that he's no longer a tax resident. And so he took off, and like, it was the right decision. He got screwed in the process, but he's like, yeah, I'm getting screwed, but it's already better.
Wow. The thing is, builders, like if you're a builder, I think the guys on this podcast are builders. A lot of you guys in the chat, if you think you can do it and you can do it a second time in another jurisdiction, like just eat eat the punch and go. I hate that I'm saying this because on my own show I say all the time that like you can work with some of these things and work at the margins and find a community that works for you. But the fact of the matter is, even if your community is great, even if your neighbors are great, like Walker said, the state is going to come knocking if you don't cooperate. And it's getting harder and harder to cooperate here, unfortunately.
No, I completely agree. Brandon, your thoughts? Can I come live with you?
You what?
Can I come live with you?
I mean, you can. I mean, we got Gretchen Whitmer here though in Michigan, so I mean, who knows?
Never mind.
Were you part of that FBI plot as well? I mean, not the FBI plot. The it was those white boy, like 60 IQ guys that they plotted the whole thing, not the FBI.
Absolutely wild. I mean, like, and again, I saw some people earlier saying, why is this important? Why are we talking about Canada? And this is coming everywhere. This is, and specifically, there's a lot of literature, there's a lot of things out there you can study where, Canada was, is a trial balloon for America. It was kind of like the way the British Crown kept America under control. And the Revolutionary War, in some senses, have never ended in America. Right, the banking system, everything. So we're trying to get rid of the last vestiges of all that. Really, the Americas in a way. I was trying to get rid of the British Crown. And this is, in the banking system. So this is why it's important. And because it is coming, it's the trial balloon and accelerate. I mean, that's the answer. I mean, to whatever all you guys are saying, that's why I'm just sitting back and just taking it all in, because the answer is accelerate. It's like when you have the burning building and everyone tells you like, just get out of the building. Well, in this instance, it's somewhat different in that, like take the things that are important, if you are moving, right? Take the Constitution, take the Bill of Rights, like the immovable objects or the structures, the first principle thinking, take those things, the ideas, take those with you if you are going somewhere. The only reason that I know a lot of things are coming in America is the Second Amendment is here, like firearms. So I might go down swinging with that. And I 400 guns in this country, 400 million guns in this country. So that's the only thing that makes me sleep at night, or else I probably would be on the Jeff Booth train and just finding somewhere else to go, quite honestly. And but it is coming, and that's where it's fake international order. All these things are fake. This is where like the whole Trump thing, what's going on in Iran. We talked about this, I think, last week a little bit, but this is the abstract power versus real power, the Jason Lowry, still got it sitting here from the show with Walker yesterday, software thesis. It's like, that's being in real time, it's playing out, and people just don't understand it. Even a lot of Bitcoiners don't understand that. It's the real power of, hey, I'm the big guy. What are you going to do about it? And to me, it looks like, Trump is playing the game of like, hey, I'm not going to go with this 100-year thing and we're going to let the currency fail and just like China's going to take over. It looks like he's like, we've got a little bit of might left and I'm going to try to stick it to whoever I can to try to prolong and put ourselves on top of this, which leads me into a different theory for a different day that we can talk about. But it's, everything is being exposed right now for the fakeness that it is, whether it's international order, to the institutions, to the presidents, to the leaders, the Nancy Pelosi's of the world, everything. And Bitcoin is the one true thing, just, TikTok, next block. And that's why Bitcoin fixes these things. At the end of the day, can't inflate it, can't double spend it. I get to, when that happens, what I get to do, I get my time and energy back. Bitcoin saves your time and energy. It's the only thing that's finite compared to your finite time on earth. So now, instead of all these problems, because people are on the hamster wheel all day long because of fiat, now they can actually pay attention to their family. They can actually build good children, and they can actually have children. They can actually pay attention to what's going on in their locale if they have government, Nathan, if they do or if they don't, right? And maybe they don't need it because they have their time and energy back. And so this is why all this is important, because Canada, wherever it is, seeing what's coming, where the puck is going. But also this is why Bitcoin, bring it back to the Bitcoin angle of why Bitcoin is so important, because it puts people on the same side of the table instead of being adversarial the entire time and everyone's at each other's throats. And it's foreign to most people. I'll end with Jesus Christ and removing the money changers from the temple. And then what happened? Things started to heal after that. The poor come back in, people started coming back in. So it's this process. Once you remove the banking cartel and the broken, currencies and whatever, I don't know if that's the right word. Fiat currencies do exactly what they're designed to do, which is, rape and pillage the people. So if you remove them, have the sound money standard, then the meek, the humble come back. And you start having this natural healing of society, and these are the incentives that we all talk about all the time. So, to me, it's very obvious sitting on from high, listening to you guys talk, and it's cool, and I'm sure the people in the chat too, because you can see the problems, you see the answers, and you're just waiting for people to look around and see what you see.
Beautiful, I love it. Guns for offense, Bitcoin for defense. Ben?
Yeah, I mean, well said, Brandon. I'll just put an AQ to that. Hard acknowledge. But yeah, I mean, we're going to chat a little bit more about this on the other side of the hop here. Quick break, but we've got our favorite segment every week. Walker's back with Retard of the Week. And man, it is a doozy. I feel feelings about this one, Walker. I'm sure you do too. So feelings will be felt. Yeah, so stick around. We're going to have Retard of the Week. And I'm I feel like I'm going to have to do a full rant after Walker does his rant. So anyways, I'm going to just leave it there. Everybody, drop a like in the video if you're enjoying the conversation. Thank you guys for being here. The chat's been blowing up, so good to see you all. And shout out to the Nostrages. We are live on Nostr right now as well. So love to see you guys here. Anyways, we'll be back in just a minute. See you in a sec. Looking for a simple and secure way to manage your Bitcoin on mobile? AQUA Wallet has you covered. It's user-friendly and puts you in full control of your Bitcoin with secure self-custody. AQUA also supports Lightning and Liquid Network, making fast, cheap Bitcoin payments and asset transfers easier than ever. Plus, it even supports stablecoins, giving you ultimate flexibility. Built on open source code, AQUA is transparent, trustworthy, and perfect for beginner and pros alike. Ready to upgrade your Bitcoin experience? Click the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on the screen now to download AQUA Wallet today. Securing your Bitcoin doesn't have to be complicated or invasive. With NUNCHUK's HONEYBADGER plan, you get state-of-the-art multi-sig with built-in inheritance planning and no KYC required. NUNCHUK is trusted by users to secure billions of dollars in Bitcoin. The HONEYBADGER plan offers 204 assisted multisig, guiding you step-by-step on mobile or desktop. It works seamlessly with hardware wallets like TapSigner, Coldcard, Jade, and plenty of others, so you're always in control. Plus, with non-KYC inheritance planning, you can ensure your Bitcoin goes to your loved ones. No private info needed. Take control of your Bitcoin today. Click the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on the screen to check out the HONEYBADGER plan. DEBIFI is the best and easiest way to borrow against your Bitcoin in a non-custodial way. Funds are held in a multi-sig escrow where you hold a key, and the platform allows for excellent hardware like the Coldcard Mark IV and the Q. You have access to flexible conditions, the best rates, and institutional-grade liquidity. If you're looking to make use of your capital, don't sell your Bitcoin, borrow against it. You can head over to debify.com to check them out, or simply scan the QR code on the screen. All right. We're back in. Walker, do you want me to pull up any visual accompaniments, or do you just want to go?
I don't know. Do you want to pull up like a bowling ball or something just to accompany this this particular one? I mean, up to you guys, but should I just get into it? And we will have Nathan and I are going to work on a super sick intro for Retard of the Week. Some cool AI 90s music, and maybe, or maybe it'll be like some ska. Who knows? Ska could be cool, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Like
that's what I played.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay, did you really? Okay,
yeah,
story for a different day.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll just go. Anyone have an air horn? Nathan, you got an air horn? Let me see.
Don't have this setup. Wop, 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 wop. There you go.
Let's go.
Wait.
What is under this table? What is?
Can you guys hear that? No?
Nope.
No? Oh, I was playing. Oh, that's awkward then. Okay. Retard of the Week. This week's Retard of the Week is none other than Brian Armstrong of Coinbase. Now, you may be asking yourself, Walker, why would Brian, this cue ball shaped human, be Retard of the Week? Well, as TFTC has thankfully reported, Coinbase is quietly lobbying to kill Bitcoin's de minimis tax exemption. And they apparently told legislators that no one is using Bitcoin as money. The de minimis exemption would be DOA, dead on arrival. And meanwhile, they're pushing for the exemption to only apply to stable coins. They've been doing this for some time. I've talked about this with some of the BPI folks who have been on top of this. And, so they wanted to only apply to specifically regulated dollar peg stable coins, like, of course, their own USDC, which by itself is just retarded. Like, why do you need a de minimis exemption on something that's pegged to the dollar? There's no gains on that. It's like, well, we need why? Like, are you planning on a lot of slippage in the future? Like, why would you possibly need de minimis exemptions on a stable coin? That's just so stupid. Secondly, fuck you. Fuck you, Brian Armstrong and Coinbase. Like, no one is using Bitcoin as money. There are people zapping this stream on Nostr using Bitcoin as money right now. I use Bitcoin as money every single day. I use it as a store of value every single day. I stack Bitcoin every hour of every day. That's what I have my DCA set at, because I'm trying to smooth that thing out. Every hour of every day I stack Bitcoin. Technically twice an hour, actually. I've got multiple DCAs hitting every hour. Just because, right? Why not? So I use it as a store of value every day. That's what I'm holding for my family, for myself, for my future generations. That is how I save the value of my time and energies in Bitcoin. That is using it as money. If you're just saving in Bitcoin, you are using it as money. But I also use it as a medium of exchange every single day on Nostr. I also, when I need to, I pay people who do work for the podcast in Bitcoin. I've never actually received any Bitcoin as payment, but someday I would like to, just in case the IRS is listening. I don't receive any right now. I don't actually own any Bitcoin. Boating accident. The moral of the story is, so many people all over the United States and all over the world use Bitcoin as money every single day. For them to come out and say something like this, not even come out and say it, they're saying it behind closed doors, while Brian Armstrong, bull posts about Bitcoin when it's convenient, while offering 10,000 shitcoins on his shitcoin casino prediction market stock trading app. Like, give me a fucking break. So the reason Brian Armstrong gets retard of the week here is because Coinbase somehow isn't the company that holds the most Bitcoin on its balance sheet, even after being one of the first movers in the space. He also gets retard of the week because saying that no one uses Bitcoin as money is just retarded. That's just a retarded thing to say. Or maybe it's not retarded. Maybe you're just a liar. Maybe you're just a liar. And what would your ulterior motive be there? Well, obviously you're just trying to pump your stable coins, which again, another part of this retardation is the fact that nobody needs a de minimis exemption on stable coins, Brian, if they're pegged to the dollar and they're not just, fluctuating wildly in value because you've got unsound business practices behind them. Just saying, why would you need that? That'd be very strange, right? None of this makes any sense. And now also, I'd like to point out that Bitcoin does not need the government. Bitcoiners do not need the government. We do not need the government to give us this de minimis exemption. You could, theoretically, I would never do this, of course, guys. I would never do this, but people could just spend and receive Bitcoin for goods and services and not tell the government. I would never do that personally. Again, that goes against all of my values. Yeah. So I would never do that. I report everything I do to the IRS naturally. I pay them more taxes than I need to just because I think they deserve it. Our government deserves to have more of my hard-earned money. But if people wanted to, you could just not tell the fucking government what you're doing. Yeah. You could just do that. You could just create small circular economies. You could just exchange value freely with nobody telling you what to do. But that's not what these big dogs want. That's not what the crypto lobby wants, right? Like, there is no Bitcoin lobby because there is no Bitcoin marketing team, because there is no Bitcoin corporation. There is a crypto lobby because every one of these fucking companies is just that. They're a company. Even Solana's a fucking company. They're like, oh, great, you've got a centralized SQL database and a company behind it. Cool. That's really neat and innovative. Like, great, good for you. But Brian Armstrong, again, wins retard of the week because this is it's honestly just embarrassing. And then to have him try to do all this bull posting about Bitcoin, or like not even bull posting, but like, philosophy maxing posting about Bitcoin and how, it's completely finite. And, the world will wake up to this. The 20 millionth Bitcoin was just mined yesterday, he said breathlessly. Fuck you, man. Fuck you. Like, go use a Bitcoin only exchange like Bitcoin Well. I personally use River, not sponsored by River. Just that's what I use. Yes. I like their supercharged DCA that buys twice as much Bitcoin when the price dips. Shout out to Bitcoin Well, sponsor of this show. Shout out to River, not a sponsor of either of these shows, but like great guys over there. Shout out to any Bitcoin only exchanges who are actually funneling people into the hardest money that has ever existed instead of trying to fucking rug them with shit coins and then act as though they're somehow holier than thou and fostering innovation and whatnot. It's like, no, you're all just turning into prediction markets because you know that the shitcoin grift is over. You know it's done. You know that. That's why you're pivoting to prediction markets and zero fee stock trading. Whoop de fucking do. How fucking innovative, man. Give me a break. Rant over, but Brian Armstrong, Coinbase, retard of the week.
Amazing. Also, shout out in the realm of Bitcoin only, solid ethos, Bitcoin exchanges. Bull Bitcoin. Love those guys. Francis, we just did a chat with him and NVK on the show. Is
Tuesday
that already
came out? Yeah, came out Tuesday.
That was a good one. But again, one of those like, salt of the earth Bitcoiners just out there trying to make.
Does Francis have any quotes, Ben, on spending Bitcoin?
Yeah, I believe it'd be a slight paraphrase, but he said something to the tune of, if you're concerned about the capital gains incurred by buying a latte, have you tried not being a fucking pussy? so there's that route. But Walker, I want to tag on to I get really pissed off about stuff like this when people go out of their way to make to put an effort to ensure that Bitcoin is not used as money, when people go out of their way to say that Bitcoin cannot be money, should not be money, will never be money, and talk about it as such, and encourage people to think of it as nothing more than just another asset to invest in, even if they're referring it to as the best asset that we've ever seen. That's all well and good, but if it's just that, I think it's a failure. I don't want just to have our generation's real estate, right? Like that. If we just get that, then big fucking whoop-de-doo is just another thing. Like it's yet another avenue of speculation to escape the debasement of the currency, right? I don't want just another way of investing in real estate or stocks. I want the foundation of the problem to crumble. I want to replace it with something better. And if we don't do this, we fail at that. And so when somebody says Bitcoin isn't money, Bitcoin won't be money, Bitcoin will just be gold 2.0, fuck those people. Absolutely not. Not only that, but we need to be the crazy ones that do it first. We have to, because who else is going to do it? Nobody. If all the other people, like the no coiners aren't going to do it, the people that are sitting in ETFs aren't going to do it. We have to be the fucking crazy ones to start using it as money. And again, the argument here that nobody's using it as money, so let's not do the de minimis exemption. And then I have people replying, I'm saying like, fuck it, no, use it as money. And I have people replying after that saying, well, we can't use it as money right now because there's a tax problem. They're using the fact that you're not using it as money as the excuse to not give a de minimis exemption. And you're saying, I'm not going to use it as money because there's not an exemption. So it's all circular. So resist, use it as fucking money and make a difference. And, Walker said that definitely nobody here would ever do this, but you can just use it as money and you can shut the fuck up.
Yep. No, that seems like a very reasonable place to be. I'm reminded immediately too, like, don't forget like the dispensaries, like weed, at least in Canada, I'm pretty sure the US too. How did that come to get like decriminalized? Because they stopped enforcing it.
It's forced on them. Yeah.
Yeah. They did. It was forced on them. We can do the same fucking thing. Joey and then Brandon, I want to get your thoughts on this. I was trying to figure out, and I don't know if this is accurate, but like, why the fuck would they be asking for de minimis on stable coins? And my thought process is it's probably because they're going to be US based with the Genius Act, put a yield on top of it, and they don't want you paying any capital gains on top of that yield.
That's exactly why.
You look at what Kraken just did with the Fed Master account. Like, I wonder if they're going after bank deposits for stable coins, and this is their play. Joey, your thoughts?
They're going after bank deposits for sure, and they're going to get it done. I'll tell you why. Because, we talked a little bit in the chat before, the five of us, about regulatory capture. This is the name of the game now. Regardless of what silo you're in, if you're a first mover and you've rested on your laurels for a bit too long, Coinbase, like Walker pointed out, great example of this. Could have done all the right stuff for 15 years now, maybe, give or take.
Jeez, yeah, a long time.
They really were the only game in town for everyone forever, and didn't hop on any of the right trends, didn't set any of the right tones, and didn't push any of the right buttons in terms of Bitcoin adoption for themselves over there, for the corporation, and of course for users. the regulatory capture thing is interesting. You see this in AI too, of course, where Altman is trying to say no one is doing AI safely, and we need to be the only people who are giving you any AI tools, and the Anthropic, whatever. Everyone's seen this story. The reason this is going to work, I regret to inform you, is because Coinbase has its own PAC, political action committee, called Fair Shake. They founded this thing years ago. I think it was like 2020 or 2022. I forget. But some quick hitting data for you. Going into the midterms of this year, they have more money in cash than the RNC, the Republican National Committee, more money in cash than the Democratic National Committee, the DNC, and more money than the two of those committees combined.
Holy shit.
So they got a big war chest.
Jesus.
In 2024, in the primaries, they backed 35 candidates. 33 of them won. They are kingmakers. In the Katie Porter primary in California, I think it was in California. I think, yeah, I got it somewhere in my notes here. Anyway, yeah, I think it was in California maybe. She was a popular Democratic candidate, anti-crypto. They knocked her out, $10 million, total blackout, and she ended up out of the race in a hurry. You can't compete with that kind of efficiency, especially in American politics where there's no cap on contributions. So I don't know what the plan is to stop this from happening, but it seems to me like they are going to get this done. And so to echo my colleagues who have already spoken on this topic, you should just be using this as money on L2s. You should be using it as money on Lightning and zapping and paying people who do work for your shows or do work for your house. Was it you, Ben, who said last week you paid your someone in Bitcoin? You like offered to pay a guy in Bitcoin? Was that you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, all the time, my barber down the street accepts Bitcoin. I've got another guy who he's a cattle rancher, and so he brings up beef from southern Alberta. And
there are ways to do it. And by the way, like, you know, I think the thing that gets people hung up is when you go, my barber has taken Bitcoin from me in the past too. I haven't paid him in Bitcoin in a while. Maybe I should start that again. But the thing is that they don't have to become like Bitcoin merchants. Okay. You don't need to see them on the BTC merchant map app for them to be Bitcoin accepting, businesses. They can just take it from you. And then the next time a guy comes in and wants to talk about Bitcoin, he knows a bit about it. Maybe he takes it from him too. It doesn't have to be all at once. Like whether it's your barber, your plumber, your rancher, whatever, you know, your bartender, you tip in Bitcoin. We go to these conferences all the time, the lot of us here. And what always happens? We have 17 pints apiece. We make a scene with the waitress and tell her she has to take Bitcoin tips. And by the way, if you take Bitcoin tips, it's going to be triple or quadruple what you would have got from me in cash. And suddenly she's into Bitcoin, right? This is how things start. And I think we forget sometimes that although we do have all these wins under our belt at the moment, especially over the last few years, still in our infancy, man. Well, how many people have Bitcoin in your life? It's you and nobody else. How many people have Bitcoin, you know, in your corporate life, in your fiat life? It's you and nobody else. Certainly there's going to be ways to get people to adopt. It doesn't have to be all at once. You don't have to put these guys on Coinos as soon as you walk in the door, but you can pay your barber in Bitcoin and get the ball rolling. That's your job as a Bitcoiner. I think someone in the chat earlier said, you know, we're not here to save the world. Definitely not. But you should push people in the right direction, especially people you know and trust and who trust you, because it's good for them, it's good for you, and ultimately it's good for Bitcoin too, which, you know, is what we're after, I think, in this community. So
you don't have to save the world, but you can improve your community.
Yeah, man. You know, it's your community after all. You want to see it improve, you can be the change you want to see in the world.
Come to that market. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the thing, the attitude about that. I have a real, I take umbrage with that, because the problem is, you know, we have to live in this world still. And when you don't, you know, get active, I forget what founding father said that, or it might've been Plato, actually, or Aristotle initially that said it, of if you're not active in politics, you'll be governed by your inferiors. That's just how life goes. If you just try to go into the woods and do nothing, well, guess what? There's a bunch of morons who are grifting off society that are going to come to DC or Ottawa or Brussels, and they're going to do whatever they're going to do and grift. And this is exactly, you know, the Brian Armstrong thing, where when you're not active, guess what? And so this goes back to, are you a winter soldier or a sunshine patriot? You know, Thomas Paine back in 1776, like, you know, the hard times create strong men. And that's where, like Ben said, someone's got to do it. You know, the guys at Lexington Concord didn't be like, you know what, darn it. Oh, shucks. The British are here, you know, like, you know what, just take our guns, guys, you know, like, just do it, whatever. No, they fought back. George Washington didn't, you know, send a letter over the king and they, you know what, George, sorry guys, I'm not giving you your freedom. And he's like, okay, you know, darn it. Oh, shucks. You know, once again, like, hey boys, he said, you know, pack it in, good to go and king's still going to rule over us. No, this is not how life works. And when you keep complying, obey, conform, like we talked about homeschooling always in government-run compulsory schools, we have a nation of land of the free, home of the brave. Made the joke, on our Telegram chat, like, where is the free and the brave? Like, and again, God love our military, but like, where are the people in society? Where are the brave and the free people in society? That's, those guys are off fighting a war, another war, like the 10th war going on right now. Where are the people, the 300 million that are in society, or the 30 million in Canada? And there's some out there, but it's like the small irate minority, the flicker of liberty's got to be somewhere inside you as a man, for crying out loud, like deep down somewhere, like the testosterone, like where is it? And that's what's wild to me to see, like, you're going to hang separately, or we're going to hang together. And which way you're going to go. And you can't save the system. You can't, you have this world where people think that, again, the red versus blue thing, the dichotomy, this false, is fake prison of two ideas, where it's like, this is going to be one of these people is going to save us. It's the same thing over and over again. And, you can't, the only thing you could possibly do to maybe even save the system is have a guy come in, Trump comes in and he deletes 99% of the government right away. And that's like, maybe a hope to save this system. But like, at this point, that's why we said earlier, accelerate. There's no way out. It's a fake system. The Constitution, who's even followed the Constitution? When's the last time you even know that the Constitution in America was followed? We don't. There is none. It's fake. And it's abstract power versus real power. And that's why you grab the documents out of the burning building, you grab the white paper, you grab the Constitution, Bill of Rights, and you run out the back door, because you got to find a better way to build. That's why Jeff Booth, again, we talked about Jeff earlier, you can't fix reality from the current system. And when we have, as Gigi wrote about 2 years ago, Bitcoin is time, you have tokens and you have a ledger. And the tokens the physical tokens get confiscated, and they also get centralized. It's kind of like one way or the other. And so the ledger, an immutable global ledger, if you're going to tell me we're going to have global society and global commerce, well, there's only one way to go. It's an immutable ledger that can't be screwed over, that everyone can run, and I don't have to trust someone else to do. It's the only option. And again, it's frustrating because we see it, because we've done the work, not because we're Nostradamus and we just woke up one day in some dream, but it's because we put the work in. It's humbling yourself. It's all the people out there that are screaming on Twitter all the time, telling you how stupid you are to own Bitcoin and you're an idiot and it's pedo coin and all this BS. It's because they haven't humbled themselves. They haven't gone through that kill door yet. And that's what's coming. And it's going to be bad. I'll finish with Back to the Future. And this is why I was taking umbrage with that. Back to the Future, one of my favorite trilogies of all time. And it's the Back to the Future 2 with what's his name? Biff. He gets the sports almanac, and then he has Biff Tannen's Pleasure Paradise. He creates the alternate space-time continuum, and he has this new world where you have to go get gas with a shotgun in your car. That's not a world I want to grow up in. And that's why I show up here every single day and do the things that I do and come hang out with Bitcoiners, because I don't want to live in that world. I don't want my kids. I don't want your kids and you guys and the people around me, my family, my friends, to live in that world, because we still have to live in this world until I can teleport to another planet. Then okay, then maybe we can talk, and you guys can just burn down here, and that's great. But you accelerate with the things that are important. You accelerate out of that mess, and you start rebuilding. To your guys' point, start doing the things we need to do in order to defund and collapse the old system in a good way. I'm not saying it's in a bad way. We had this other system. The other way was civil war. That was the way for thousands of years you had. Now we have a different way. We have peaceful exit of the system for the first time in human history, just the last 17 years.
Walker.
All right, I'll toss on top of that ACK and agreed with everything Brandon said. I will maybe go one step further, though, and that's that none of this matters if you don't use the technology. None of this matters to what Brandon said earlier. We can't just go away into the woods, right? We actually have to engage. You may not care about politics, but politics cares about you. But furthermore, we actually, and to reiterate Brandon's point and Jeff Booth's point, you can't fix a system from a system. The fiat system is irredeemable. It will not be fixed. There is maybe in one of the infinite multiverses that could exist after each present moment, perhaps we could fix that fiat system. But I don't think so. I don't think in our timeline we fix this fiat system. I don't think it is redeemable. I don't think it can be fixed. But we don't need to break it. It will break itself. Every fiat currency necessarily goes to zero. Every revolution is necessarily a monetary revolution at its core. Every turning over of an empire necessarily starts with the degradation of its money. Every single time. That will happen. Now, the question is, by that time, will we have built up a parallel system that is sufficient to provide for our needs? Will we have enough people using technologies in that parallel system that allows that system to be strong enough? Will we have enough people using Bitcoin as money? And I think, again, to clarify, if you're just using Bitcoin as a savings mechanism, that's great. You're at step one. That's step one. The next step is using it as a medium of exchange. The next step is using it as a unit of account, actually pricing your life in Bitcoin. And that's the last step, is a mentality shift. It's not something you have to physically do. It's a mentality shift. But the second step is very important. Actually using Bitcoin as money, using it on layer one, using it on Lightning, using it as eCash. You actually have to use it. You need to use more than just Bitcoin though. You need to use encrypted messaging. You need to use open source decentralized communication protocols like Nostr. You need to use all of these things. Like, we need to, paraphrasing Eric Hughes' 33rd anniversary of the Cypherpunk Manifesto a couple of days ago, we must defend our freedoms if we expect to have any. We have to use these technologies if we expect to have any freedoms. We must take it upon ourselves to actually do the work. Like, you can't LARP your way through what is coming. And there is something coming. We are about to be in the middle of a cyclical convergence. Brandon, I will write this piece soon. I just had to rant on the homeschooling piece first because I saw that the guy that almost won Retard of the Week, guys, said homeschooling should be illegal. Mm-hmm. We decided Brian Armstrong was more of a retard, so we put him up there. But yeah, moral of the story, there is a storm coming. The best way to weather that storm is to utilize the incredible open source freedom tech that all the open source freedom tech developers out there have been tirelessly and thanklessly building. If you call yourself I don't care what you fucking do. You right there that I'm looking at in the camera, not you, Nathan. No, you call yourself a Bitcoiner. Okay, act like one. Because a Bitcoiner doesn't just use Bitcoin. And a Bitcoiner doesn't just save in Bitcoin. I don't give a fuck what you do with your money. Do whatever you want with your money. It's the whole point of Bitcoin. But what you should do, at least in my opinion, you can say, fuck you, Walker. I don't care what the fuck you think. Good, you shouldn't. But personally, I want to use these technologies. I want to use Bitcoin as a savings technology and a medium of exchange. And have that mentality shift to be a unit of account. I want to use Nostr. I want to use encrypted messaging wherever possible. I want to use encrypted messaging on Nostr. What they're building with white noise is amazing. Building new protocols like Marmot that are allowing for signal on steroids, right? I personally believe, tell me to fuck off, I don't care. You should be using these technologies as much as you can, even if it's just casually. It matters. It makes a difference. Like, you expect the world to free itself from these fiat chains? Grow up. Nothing happens without men and women and children, people of all kinds, acting. Human action matters. Your actions matter. Take action. Don't be a little bitch. Start using these technologies for what they were meant to be used for, which is freeing you from the grip of the ever-present totalitarian temptation. Because it is coming. It will get worse. Look around you. Look around the world. Look at Canada. Look at the UK. Look at Australia. Look at America. Look anywhere you want. You see that slow creep of the totalitarian temptation, and you see most people sleepwalking right into it. Do not be one of them. Wake the fuck up and use these incredible asymmetric tools that are available to you. Rant over.
Amen. I'll echo that. And Walker, again, you bring up a whole bunch of amazing things that people can dive into. And I see in the chat, like, what if we don't know how? Well, again, you guys are in a great place to start, and don't let
go to BTC Sessions,
but like, don't let perfect be the enemy of good, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, take it one step at a time, right? You're here, so you're probably already, diving into Bitcoin. Maybe you have self-custody. Maybe you've started using a Lightning wallet, something like that. But just ask yourself, okay, what's the next thing I want to learn? And start there. You have to walk before you can run, right? Like, so you got to take your time and just pick one thing at a time, one foot in front of the other. Maybe this week for you, it's, I'm going to get Primal and I'm going to try out Nostr. Maybe it's I'm going to try some sort of a private messenger. Maybe it's I'm going to download like Molvad VPN so that I can, you know, encrypt my network traffic, or maybe I'm going to run a node, or whatever it may be. Just pick a thing and go with it. You could probably find a tutorial on it. You can de-Google a phone. I did one of those too. You can do a whole bunch of stuff. So, and we might have something in the pipeline that can help with some of those Bitcoin tangential things that we're working on. So you will see. But either way, great place to start. Gentlemen, I'm going to go down the line really quick and find out where people can follow along and catch up with what you're up to in the next week. Walker, you just had the mic. I'll give it to you really quick, and then we'll go down to Brandon and Joey.
Yeah, all right. If you want to hear about the almost retard of the week, I don't know, some guy holding some China thing up in his profile photo. It looks like he should probably check his hard drive. I'm saying allegedly. Please don't sue me, whoever you are. This is just what other people said about you, not me. I'm just repeating that. In the UK, that's illegal. I would go to jail, but this is fucking America to deal with it. I wrote a piece, kind of throwing together. Brandon inspired me by just kicking me in the ass. Joey inspired me by writing his, Fed-funded pieces. And I just decided I should write a piece about, somebody said homeschooling should be illegal, and said some other dumb stuff too. I was homeschooled myself. We're planning on homeschooling our current son and future children that we have. And I wrote a piece describing my experience with that and why I think all the shit this retard said was really dumb. I also acknowledged some realities about it, like the fact that homeschooling isn't for everyone. If you want to check that out, you can go on X, you can go on Noster, Walker America, or primal.net/Walker, or walkeramerica.substack.com, or maybe some other places. I don't know. But you can go to any of those places and find this piece. Let me know what you think. If you're curious about homeschooling, there's multiple people that are homeschooling their kids in this video right now. Am I the only one who was homeschooled though?
I believe so. Yes, you're the one who wasn't. The one who wasn't socialized, Walker.
This explains a lot, right? I did not develop a good filter. Yeah, but really, check it out. The reason that, and Brandon and I have been talking about this a lot recently too. I don't want this to be something that seems scary to you. There are more tools available to you than at any other time in history. It's not right for everyone. It's not. I'm not trying to force homeschooling on you. That's the state's job, to force compulsory public education on you. That's also what the Nazis did. The piece, by the way, is called "Nazis Hate Homeschooling." Maybe you can Google that. I don't know how the SEO worked out, but yeah, check out. Just search "Nazis Hate Homeschooling." Maybe it'll pop up. Let me know if it does. Let me know what you think of it. I haven't written in a while and decided, if Joey's writing, like if a Canadian can do it, well, goddamn right, an American's
if I write 10,000 words,
too.
you only have to write like 6,500 to really make
It's almost exactly what I wrote. I wrote like 5,000.
Oh, beautiful. Brandon, what can people go check out this week?
Amazing stuff. So actually, ironically, we talked about Jeff Booth a lot. I have an interview with him coming out this week, tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow. Yeah. Wow. Is it Wednesday?
Nice.
Yes.
So we chat about, we just go in depth, no current event stuff, just all completely down the rabbit hole, basically the stuff we're talking about. So that'll be good. And then, Brandon_Gentili, the handles everywhere, Noster, Twitter, and YouTube, the channel there to find that stuff. And also I want to mention the 6 higher faculties of humans. This is my last thought for the week. Ben mentioned this earlier about memory. I think it was Ben, maybe it's Nathan, but people just don't remember things anymore. And, we have 5 senses as animals, and then we have 6 higher faculties that animals don't have. If anyone didn't know, we have memory, intuition, perception, imagination, will, and reason. And we need to start using those. Like someone said, people don't even remember 15 years ago. They don't remember 5 years. They don't remember yesterday what happened. Well, of course you're going to get scammed by government because you don't remember what the hell happened, how they scammed you last week or last month or last year, let alone 15 years ago. So let's, level up here. As Bitcoiners, set the tone, be the example. Again, like we've been saying this whole episode, we're going to, let's hang together because we're surely going to hang separately as we've seen outlined here today. So let's rock and roll. Let's make it a great week.
Love it.
Especially for the Canadians.
Yeah, we're screwed. Speaking of Canadians who are screwed, Joey in Ontario, how you doing?
Good, man. Listen, you can check out Canadian Bitcoiners podcast on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. We had Scott Horton last week who took time in the middle of an unexpected move. He just bought a new house. So I appreciate that. And then tomorrow I'm going to talk to Francis Pouliot myself. I don't know what we're going to talk about. You can go into Francis's interviews with a game plan, but there's not really much of a point because he likes to roll downhill, that guy. And I appreciate that about a guest on a podcast. So I'm going to let him do whatever he wants and say whatever he likes. Should be good. Check that out.
Beautiful. I love it. I've got friend of the show and friend of Canadian Bitcoiners podcast, Richard Diaz, coming on next week to go through all the wonderful U.S. and Canada economic data. Which is
Rich is the best, man. Great guy.
He's a wonderful dude.
Yeah.
Ben?
Keep an eye out. Obviously, myself and Nathan will be on tomorrow for a weekly session, but also tutorial coming out on Friday. I haven't seen anything in depth with this yet, but I'm going to show people how to use ARC. A lot of people haven't played with the ARC protocol, layer 2 Bitcoin unilateral exit. Honestly, you can pretty much set up a wallet and immediately start receiving funds. There's no like channel management or anything like that. So I was pleasantly surprised with using it. So it's something called Arcade Wallet, and I go through how to use it, how to back it up, how to restore it, how to send on-chain Lightning and with the ARC protocol, and then also what's the plumbing in the background, how's it work. So that's going to drop on Friday, so keep an eye out.
Nice.
Beautiful.
That's so funny how you have to get thrown to tell people what you have going on your own channel. What the fuck was that?
Keeping you guys organized is unbelievably difficult.
Hey man, this is part of the perk of owning the channel.
I guess, yeah.
But this has been awesome. Hell of a rip. Again, what is this? Episode 4 now of Bitcast?
Yeah.
I think we should have lots more of these. They're pretty fun. So guys, if you're enjoying the channel, you're enjoying Bitcast, make sure you do drop a like on the video. Make sure you share it out there. I love seeing the chat ripping as people are joining in. It's always an absolute blast. It's also good to see this. My Nostr links are working now too. So Nostriches are tuning in as well. Wherever you're watching it, make sure you do give it a share, drop a comment, drop a like. It always helps. And with that, we've been talking a lot about tools and everything like that. Of course, peruse the channel for tutorials to help you out. But if you do need some one-on-one help too, myself, Nathan, and our team over at BTC Mentor are happy to book a call with you and get you some rock solid advice on making sure that you get a setup with everything so that you don't make little mistakes. So reach out. We're going to play a clip at the end of the video. Anyways, guys, thank you so much. I'm Ben with BTC Sessions, and this was Bitcast. Cheers, guys. When I first got into Bitcoin, I was overwhelmed. The jargon, the security risks, the fear that one mistake could cost everything. I remember staring at my screen and wondering, are my keys safe? Did I do this right? That experience is why I started BTC Sessions. For over a decade, this channel has helped millions of people like you learn how to use and secure Bitcoin. But I realized something. For many people, videos aren't enough. Everyone learns differently. Some need to ask questions in real time as an expert walks through their setup, their goals, and their threat model. And certain things like advanced cold storage, inheritance planning, privacy, and node or mining setups often can't be fully solved by watching another tutorial. So I built BTC Mentor. I recruited the best Bitcoin educators on the planet to work with you one-on-one. Real experts, real answers, personalized hands-on guidance tailored to your exact situation. Whether you're brand new or building a complex setup, we meet you where you're at and walk with you step by step. By the end, you don't just hope your Bitcoin is safe, you know it is. If you're ready for that level of confidence, then head to btcmentor.io and book a call with us today.